Welcome back, Yellowhammer Nation. You're listening to Yellowhammer Radio, Superstation 101 WYD. I am Scott Chambers.
Andrea Tice here as well. Dave on the ones and twos, and we're bringing Cord Sachs in.
Yes, we are. Mr. Cord Sachs from Fire Seeds. How in the world are you today, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. I can't complain at all, and much better than the weather outside.
Well, if you complain, it doesn't do any good. I learned that a long time ago. So there's no need to complain, right?
Absolutely.
Cord, it's good to have you on the program. So let's just get right to it. So over the last 2 weeks, we've talked about how to determine if we have a good job or a great job, and if we determine that our job is just okay or maybe it's not so great, ways that we can find out if there's another opportunity or a seat on the bus that could be a better fit for us. So we're going to continue that today, right, Cord?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna talk about really continuing that conversation around what if we have determined that that there's not another seat on the bus. It's not a good fit. My job's not a good fit right now, and I've had discussions and conversations, or I've looked into just the other opportunities within my current situation, and there's really no other seat on the bus to move into. So what do we do next?
Yeah, what do we do? What do we do? How do we start looking elsewhere if we find out, this seat ain't comfortable for me?
Yeah, how do we get off that bus without getting hurt?
That's right. We got to get off the bus, and so today we're going to talk about the what I call the calling fit discovery process.
Okay.
All right, and so this is we want to kind of have two things happen here. We want to identify what are we called to do, and by calling I mean the larger story of where I'm supposed to have the next season of impact in my life. In many of the shows we've talked about this 80,000 hours we spend at work. And it just makes sense. If we can align what we do at work with what we're called to do, how we're supposed to contribute to this world, it makes a lot more sense. But then there's some pragmatic side of that where there should be a process to really determine, is this a good fit for me? Does it match my skills and what I'm good at and what I like to do? So that's where we're going. And I would say as you start this process, the number one thing you've got to do is keep working hard at your current job. Because that's the story that's going to be told from your current employer, your current boss, the current people you work with,
right,
about who you are to your next opportunity. So the most important thing is to keep working hard, be a diligent steward of the opportunity, even though you've determined it's not where you're supposed to stay long term. And then we're just going to come up with a plan. Let's come up with an intentional plan to move through a clear process so we can determine what would be the best fit next.
Okay, so how much of this process will include just looking at my current situation, my current job, to really understand why it's not a good fit before I move on?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly where you start. I mean, that's what you know right now. That's what's moved you to this decision that, hey, this is not where I want to remain. So let's be very intentional to think about why that's the case. Let's come up with a pros and cons list of what I like and what I dislike about the job. We talked about the 3 hedgehog questions. Am I passionate about this? Can I be the best in the world at it? Or is it meeting my financial expectations for my career? And which of those questions we had to answer no to, we'll start digging in. If you realize, I'm just not successful here. I'm not getting the results I need. I can't be the best in the world at this. Well, why? Let's talk about this. Think about the specifics of your job that are causing you not to perform, and just come up with a really simple list of and an inventory of why this scenario now is not working.
Cord,
look in. You got to look into the current situation.
Okay.
So looking in there. Okay. Well, you've talked about on previous shows about the importance of looking at your own personal identity, personality, and preferences. Now, so is that something that we should apply, or I should apply as I look at, I look in at myself?
Absolutely, and I think that's where most people miss is they realize I need to move on, so they go look for the next job instead of thinking, okay, I'm going to look into my current situation, understand why it's not working, and then look into my own identity and begin to find the clues. Because it's really simple. God has created each of us with a specific, unique personality and wiring, because we're supposed to accomplish specific works that He's prepared for us. Mm-hmm. That He has this calling for our lives that we're supposed to move in different seasons, to have different impact on different people. And so when we can look into the identity piece, the hardwiring of who we are, and we get the clues around the unique preferences that we have that aren't based on your situation, they're based on how God designed you, then we can begin to put that into the equation as well. You may find out, I'm in a situation now where I'm in a cubicle all day long behind a screen doing a lot of data analysis, and I really see from this instrument that I'm supposed to be around people and engaging and using my relational skills with people, and that's just not a part of this job. And so you begin to get clues that should confirm why you're not supposed to be in this job, and then give you clues to where you should be moving towards.
Okay, so once you accomplish this whole look in, which is very good, very valuable, and there's a point where you have to actually kind of look out and say, okay, where can I fit? Where
That's right.
can I find the job that's going to accomplish what I've just realized about myself? What do you do next?
That's right. Yeah, so you've taken personal inventory of your situation and of yourself and of your wiring and your preferences, and now you need to look out. You need to scan the horizon and begin to put a process in place again that's going to allow you to see what opportunities are out there, and then begin to match the opportunities with what you've learned from your current situation, your identity and who you are, and then begin to be able to say, hey, this is a job and an opportunity that I want to go after. And so, very practically speaking, we want to build out what we call the calling fit bullseye. All right? And so the calling side of the bullseye, the first bullseye is the calling bullseye.
Okay.
It really has to do with the culture of the organization. So build a list, if you will. We're going to put this into a bullseye that we're going to shoot at.
Okay.
That really would help you define the culture that you would thrive in.
Okay.
And that's the vision of the organization, the mission of the organization. That's the type of people that work in this organization. The value of is this an organization that spends a lot of time celebrating their people? Is this an organization that takes a lot of time paying a lot of attention to detail and follow through? And as you begin to build the bullseye around the culture, that's where you can begin to see, is this going to be a calling fit? So we're not supposed to – go ahead.
So, Cord, as you're building this bullseye, I'm thinking in my mind I'm envisioning 3 rings, and this is the outer ring of the bullseye. Is that correct? Kind of the over-encompassing?
Yes, absolutely. You can think of this as the outer ring of the bullseye.
Okay.
There needs to be a culture within this organization that attracts you to it.
Okay.
That's the story of who the company is, not just the job that it provides in a certain position.
Okay.
So you want to be a part of the story of the organization, that you can get excited about that. I mean, how many times have you heard a sales guy say, I just couldn't get behind what I was selling. I didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that the company, or I didn't believe that the company had integrity to really follow through with what I was selling. And so the culture of the organization is very important that we define what that looks like for us.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. My husband, for a very short time, was a car salesman, like a short time, like maybe 2 weeks, because he couldn't get behind helping people get into debt. He just couldn't do it.
Right.
And he ended up leaving that job.
Yeah,
So,
that would be a tough one, yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be a tough career.
Yeah, so calling's a big part of it, but then, of course, fit is just as important. I mean, you got to join a company you believe in, but you also want to make sure you're a good fit for that job. And so the next bullseye, if you will, the next ring, the next couple rings on this bullseye they're going to be based on the position itself.
Okay.
What can I see myself? And this is really going to go back to kind of the 2 questions in the hedgehog. What can I see myself getting really passionate about? And when I say passion, I mean gaining energy from. That when I go do it, I get more and more energy to keep doing it over and over again. And so what type of position, what could I be doing as I look at my list of the things maybe I was doing in my current situation and realize half of these, I got to make sure that's not the scenario of the next job that I take. But then what are the things? If it is people, you want to make sure in the parameters of your job position that you get to spend a lot of time with people. You get to use your skills, your relational skills that are also going to fuel you as you're around people. And then, as we think about the fit of is this something that I could be passionate about, then obviously that usually plays also into could I be really good at this? Could I maybe even be the best in the world at this job?
Right.
And so as we begin to build that list of what are the skill sets, going back to our identity and saying, okay, here's my identity. Here's what needs to be in this job. Here's what I need to be doing. I need to spend time with people. I need to be using my relational skills. Maybe just like your dad, he loved sales. It doesn't mean that he had to get out of all car dealerships or all sales altogether, but he did need to get out of that culture and get into another opportunity that gave him the opportunity to sell.
Very interesting.
Creating the clarity is what we're going after here.
Cord, we are out of time, my friend. Tell us how people can get in touch with you and Fire Seeds.
Fireseeds.com. It's as simple as that. Would love to help anyone engage in this conversation around their calling, around their fit. And we help place purpose-driven leaders and purpose-driven organizations, and
all right,
and help them multiply their influence.
See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Their influence.